Welcome to the chapter Human Reproduction. Reproduction is a fundamental characteristic of all living organisms and is essential for the continuity of a species. Human beings reproduce sexually, which involves the formation and fusion of male and female gametes. The male reproductive system produces sperms, while the female reproductive system produces ova or eggs. During fertilization, a sperm fuses with an ovum to form a zygote. The zygote undergoes repeated cell divisions and develops into an embryo, which later grows into a new individual. Human reproduction includes several important events such as gametogenesis, insemination, fertilization, implantation, pregnancy, and parturition. In this chapter, we will study each of these processes in detail according to insert and understand how a new human life begins and develops. The male reproductive system is located in the pelvic region and consists of a pair of testes, accessory ducts, accessory glands, and external genitalia. The testes are the primary male reproductive organs responsible for the production of sperms and the male sex hormone, testosterone. The testes are situated outside the abdominal cavity in a pouch called the scrotum. The scrotum maintains a temperature about 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius lower than the normal body temperature, which is essential for spermatogenesis, or sperm production. Each testis contains highly coiled seminiferous tubules where sperms are formed. The sperms then move into the epididymis, where they mature and are temporarily stored. From the epididymis, sperms travel through the vas deferens and enter the urethra through the ejaculatory duct. The accessory glands include the seminal vesicles, prostate gland, and bulbourethral glands. Their secretions combine with sperms to form semen. These secretions provide nourishment, protection, and a suitable medium for sperm movement. The penis acts as the male copulatory organ and helps in the transfer of semen into the female reproductive tract during reproduction. Thus, the male reproductive system is specially designed for the production, maturation, nourishment, and transport of sperms. Let us now study the female reproductive system. It is located in the pelvic region and consists of a pair of ovaries, a pair of oviducts or fallopian tubes, the uterus, cervix, vagina, and external genitalia. The ovaries are the primary female reproductive organs. They produce female gametes called ova or eggs and also secrete the hormones estrogen and progesterone. These hormones regulate the menstrual cycle and support pregnancy. Each ovary is connected to the uterus by a fallopian tube, also known as the oviduct. The funnel-shaped end of the oviduct picks up the ovum released during ovulation. Fertilization usually occurs in the ampullary region of the fallopian tube. The uterus is a thick-walled, pear-shaped muscular organ. It provides a suitable environment for implantation and development of the embryo. The inner lining of the uterus, called the endometrium, undergoes cyclic changes during the menstrual cycle and plays an important role in pregnancy. The lower narrow part of the uterus is called the cervix. The cervical canal, along with the vagina, forms the birth canal. The vagina is a muscular tube that receives the penis during copulation and serves as the passage for childbirth. The external genitalia, collectively known as the vulva, protect the reproductive organs and play an important role in reproduction. Thus, the female reproductive system is specially adapted for the production of ova, fertilization, implantation, and the development of a new individual. The process of sperm formation. Spermatogenesis occurs in the seminiferous tubules of the testes and begins at puberty under the influence of hormones. The process starts with diploid germ cells called spermatogonia. These cells undergo mitotic divisions to increase their number. Some spermatogonia grow in size and become primary spermatocytes, which contain 46 chromosomes or a diploid set of chromosomes. Each primary spermatocyte undergoes the first meiotic division, known as meiosis I, to produce 2 haploid secondary spermatocytes. Each secondary spermatocyte then undergoes the second meiotic division, or meiosis II, resulting in 4 haploid spermatids. These spermatids are not yet mature sperms. They undergo a transformation process called spermiogenesis, during which they develop a head, middle piece, and tail to become spermatozoa or mature sperms. An important point to remember is that one primary spermatocyte produces 4 haploid sperms. This is a frequently asked question in board and competitive examinations. The mature sperms are finally released into the lumen of the seminiferous tubules and transported to the epididymis for maturation and storage. Oogenesis is the process of formation of the female gamete, known as the ovum or egg. This process takes place in the ovaries and begins during the fetal stage of life. The process starts with diploid germ cells called oogonia. These cells undergo mitotic divisions and increase in number. Some oogonia grow in size and develop into primary oocytes. Each primary oocyte enters the first meiotic division but remains arrested in prophase I until puberty. At puberty, under the influence of hormones, one primary oocyte completes meiosis I during each menstrual cycle. This division is unequal and produces a large secondary oocyte and a small first polar body. The secondary oocyte receives most of the cytoplasm, while the polar body receives very little cytoplasm. The secondary oocyte then begins meiosis II but gets arrested at metaphase II. It is released from the ovary during ovulation in this stage. If fertilization occurs, the secondary oocyte completes meiosis II and forms a mature ovum along with a second polar body. If fertilization does not occur, the secondary oocyte degenerates. An important point to remember is that one primary oocyte produces only one functional ovum. The polar bodies formed during the process generally degenerate and do not participate in reproduction. Thus, oogenesis is the process through which a mature haploid ovum is formed in the ovary and becomes ready for fertilization. White medium star insert important point, one primary oocyte, 2N, one functional ovum, N. One of the most important events in human reproduction. Fertilization is the process of fusion of a male gamete, the sperm, with a female gamete, the ovum, resulting in the formation of a zygote. In humans, fertilization usually occurs in the ampullariismic junction of the fallopian tube. After ovulation, the secondary oocyte enters the fallopian tube, where it may encounter sperms that have reached the female reproductive tract. Before fertilization, sperms undergo a process called capacitation, which increases their ability to penetrate the ovum. When a sperm comes into contact with the ovum, the acrosome releases enzymes that help the sperm penetrate the outer coverings of the egg. Once a sperm successfully enters the ovum, the plasma membranes of the sperm and ovum fuse. This prevents the entry of additional sperms. The nucleus of the sperm then moves towards the nucleus of the ovum. The male and female pronuclei fuse in a process called karyogamy. As a result of this fusion, the diploid chromosome number is restored and a diploid zygote is formed. The zygote represents the beginning of a new individual. After fertilization, the zygote immediately begins repeated mitotic divisions known as cleavage. It gradually moves towards the uterus, where further development takes place. Thus, fertilization marks the beginning of a new life by combining the genetic material from both parents and forming a diploid zygote. White medium star insert important line, fertilization occurs in the ampullariismic junction of the fallopian tube and results in the formation of a diploid zygote. Let us now study the final stages of human reproduction, namely pregnancy, embryonic development, and parturition. After fertilization, the zygote undergoes repeated mitotic divisions called cleavage. These divisions produce a solid mass of cells known as the morula. The morula further develops into a blastocyst, which consists of an outer trophoblast layer and an inner cell mass. Around 6 to 7 days after fertilization, the blastocyst attaches to and becomes embedded in the endometrium of the uterus. This process is called implantation and marks the beginning of pregnancy. Following implantation, the placenta develops. The placenta serves as a connection between the mother and the developing fetus. It supplies oxygen and nutrients to the fetus and removes carbon dioxide and metabolic wastes. The umbilical cord connects the fetus to the placenta and allows the exchange of materials between them. The embryo undergoes rapid growth and differentiation. During this period, organogenesis takes place, leading to the formation of major organs and organ systems. By the end of the second month of development, the embryo is called a fetus. The fetus continues to grow and develop throughout pregnancy. The average gestation period in humans is about 280 days or 40 weeks. During this time, the fetus is protected by the amniotic fluid and receives nourishment from the mother through the placenta. At the end of pregnancy, childbirth occurs through a process known as parturition. Parturition is initiated by hormonal signals from both the fetus and the mother. It occurs in 3 stages. The first stage involves dilation of the cervix. The second stage is the delivery of the baby through the birth canal. The third stage involves the expulsion of the placenta from the uterus. Thus, human reproduction culminates in the birth of a new individual, completing the journey from a single-celled zygote to a fully developed baby. White medium star insert important points. Asterisk implantation occurs about 6 to 7 days after fertilization. Asterisk the embryo is called a fetus from the 2nd month. Asterisk human gestation period is approximately 280 days or 40 weeks. Asterisk parturition means childbirth.